That Ken?
Yeah, it's Ken. How you doing?
Good.
I guess congratulations are in order.
Yes, thank you. The single.
You're on the charts.
On the charts. How about that, eh?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Who knew? But who knew? But I'm not complaining.
Well, I hope not.
Hell no.
I was talking to Johnny last week, and
Yeah, right. You're in Ottawa, right?
I am in Ottawa. Yeah, yeah. He's just thrilled with the whole fact that it's happening again. And
Yeah.
we were talking about how a lot of the bands from the 80s are coming back. You know, Kim's got a new tune out, Kim Mitchell. You guys have another song out that's on the charts. I feel like I'm a teenager again.
There's no reason to stop making music. We always have. Just now we've, kind of got lucky with this new album, these new singles. I think it's a sign of things to come.
Well, according to Johnny, you're almost done an album.
Yeah, almost.
I guess just some vocals going on, and then it's all done.
Yeah. Yeah, man. We started it like a year and a half ago down in Nashville with our producer, Mike. You probably know all this, and then he moved to England. So we're almost done. Johnny and I were over there in February of this year, and we had one more trip scheduled to finish all the overdubs. And then guess what? Pandemic.
Yeah.
So here we sit and we wait till things ease up a bit, and we get back over there and finish.
That could be any time. I mean, who knows when that could happen?
Yeah, well, we'll find a way. I mean, we can do a lot remotely from my studio. I do a lot of my tracks at home and send them over.
Okay.
But vocals are really kind of, you have to be present for that. That's very important. So
Sure.
We'll get back over.
It's a full album, right? It's not like an EP. It's a full on 10, 12 song album.
It's going to be a full record.
Awesome.
And we're on a label now, an independent label. It's going to be released over in the state, in Canada, and labels based out of the UK now. So we're going to have some distribution in England and Europe, because we got a lot of fans there as well.
Awesome. The thing that amazed me about it, and I don't know if it's amazed me, but the thing I like about the new track is it's Honeymoon Suite. I mean, as soon as you listen to it, it's got that sound. It's so nice to hear that again.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a perfect blend of classic sound, the big chorus, lots of melody. It rocks out, but it's contemporary as well, in that it's not dated sounding. And that's our producer, Mike Crumpus, who we're working with. He's very, very hip to what's, all the new recording and production and the tricks and everything, but he's smart enough to know not to change the sound of the band. So that's kind of my take on it. I think it's a very fresh sound, but it's still Honeymoon Suite.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking as well. The sound is great. He did a great job on the mix. It's a great sounding song. So I want to explain a little bit what I'm doing here. I'm kind of doing a celebration on my website, a celebration of Canadian rock music. Ever since Neil Peart died, I've been on a major Canadian music bender, and I wanted to get interviews with people who were in it at the time or are in it now. And I've done a few interviews, but I really want to talk about what it's like to be Canadian and in the music industry, and what it was like when you were first starting the scene. What was the scene like? There were some great bands coming out. I mean, when your first album came out, you came out the same year as Kim Mitchell's Akimbo a Logo, Grace Under Pressure by Rush, Triumph Thunder 7, Bryan Adams' Reckless, and Honeymoon Suite too. Great time for Canadian music.
Yeah, it was. It was a great time, and you have to remember that Much Music had just started at that time as well.
That's true.
That was a huge component of our success and all these other bands, of course, because now everybody's making a video, and that just really pushed it right through the roof for us, because the kids, were all tuning in, watching your video before you even came to town. And then when you came to town, they were going, they were nuts because they'd seen that. And that element wasn't there before. Same as MTV in the States was playing us. So I don't know. I think the 80s was just, it was just a time. It was the music. And it was back in the day when you could get signed by a label, and you had to be a good band, and you were scouted, and then you got signed, and a label would invest, 2 or 3 albums in you for the long term, and you would sell albums and CDs and cassettes and tour and all that stuff.
What was it like before getting signed? Like the club days?
Well, again, we did everything old school. We all came up. Johnny was in other bands, and I was in other bands in our early 20s, all just out there trying to make it. And what you did is you got in a band and you learned cover songs, and you learned Billy Idol and Genesis and Sammy Hagar and all the rock songs. And you went out and you did 6-nighters, and you went up to Sudbury for a week, and then you went to Kapuskasing for a week, and then you came home on Sunday, and back up you go on Monday. And we did that for a couple of years, getting our band together, getting our shit together, and learning to be a good on-stage band. And during that process, I'd had these songs that I came into the band with. I had New Girl Now, which was written a few years before that, a couple other songs. Johnny and I always knew that we were going to be an original band, so that was our kind of focus. And the cover thing was just a way to, eat craft dinner and make enough to pay rent in the meantime. So we started sneaking in the songs, and we put New Girl Now in the set, but not announce it as an original. And it kind of went right by, and people thought it was a cover song. So it was a tough time, but you know what? Any day you're out there playing is we had our fun because we knew better things would come. So just, it beats a day job. So
I can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but it's all I ever wanted to do. So if I'm playing every day, I was happy with that.
That's awesome. And it's funny you mentioned Billy Idol. The first time I saw you guys was opening for Billy Idol in Ottawa.
You know what? I remember that show.
That's what Johnny said too. Was that a special show or something?
No, I think we did. I know we played in Toronto with him. And at that time, I mean, he was just exploding. He was just like this punk god, with the hair. And Steve Stevens as well, who I thought was an amazing player. And his hair was like 3 feet high at that time. So I just thought it was punk, which is my roots. I came out of new age and punk. Years before Johnny, I was in a punk band in Toronto playing, punk stuff and stuff like the Police. So I love the Billy Idol. I remember him in Gen X and all that. Anyways, I won't get on that. But the Ottawa show, I mean, that was our first time not playing in clubs, all of a sudden being an opening band, playing our original stuff. And man, it's like a dream come true. What I remember, that show, I remember after we played, I remember Billy coming into our change room. We're just sitting there, and the door swings open. Here he comes in without his shirt on and his stinky, sweaty leather pants, and he's like, "Hi guys, it's really good. Enjoyed your band, super nice guy." And we're like, "Holy shit, Billy Idol just came in here and chatted with us."
It must just be a great feeling to go from the club to. I mean, the Civic Center at the time wasn't that big. I would say probably 6,000 or 7,000. What was
that?
The Civic Center where you would have played with Billy Idol?
Yeah, you know what? Anything more than 500 or 1,000 was a stadium to us. So, you're playing to a couple hundred people in a club every night, and all of a sudden you're in an arena with thousands of people. But we were ready for it. And
that's awesome.
It was just like, for me, I wasn't intimidated at all. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go.
Darn right. Did you learn anything about the business when you're opening for bands? I remember you opened for the Kinks as well in Ottawa. Do you learn anything about the business side of music by being with those guys?
Well, I mean, you get the you get the backstage, you get the the backstage part of it, the part that most people don't see. You see what goes on in the day, and you see how these other bands run their shows and their crews. And so I guess you learn how they do things when you're touring in arenas. And yeah, sure, we took our pointers. I mean, it's a quick education going from a stinky little stage at the Colson in Sudbury, and then a few months later, you're on the stage at a in a big arena, which is huge. So you have to adapt and don't stand there, move around. And just, I would watch a lot of the headliners and just watch how they pace their shows. And business-wise, I'm always taking it in, watching.
And Steve Stevens, man, that would be fun to watch every night.
Yeah, great player.
Oh, for sure. You surprised me a little bit by saying you were a punk guy when you were young, because your music doesn't have much punk in it.
No, but that was when I went to Fanshawe College in London for a few years, and when New Wave was really big, and XTC and the Police and the Clash and all these bands, that was their era. They were coming up, and the Pistols. So I was probably more New Wave than hardcore punk. But I joined a band in college called Steve Blimke and the Reason. And Steve was like a new wave kind of quirky pop singer. But I got to join them and make a couple of records with them and wrote some songs for that band. And we did we used to play The Edge in Toronto. And I remember we did a Canadian tour opening for Martha and the Muffins, if you can remember them.
I do.
You know what? It's part of it's part of my coming up, right? It's like I knew, I was in a band and I had an album out and I was on tour. I wasn't a rock star or anything, but I'm getting there, I'm getting there and I'm moving forward.
Right.
So the punk stuff, actually, Dave was the drummer in the band with me. So we'd spent a couple of years playing really fast songs, and it's fun because it was a trio. It was bass, guitar, and drums, and a singer. So I love trios because everybody has to work really hard. If you listen to our first album, like say Funny Business, that's kind of my influence there from New Wave. It's a really fast kind of driving song.
When the album came out, were you surprised at the success it had right away? I mean, for a band releasing a first album, there must be incredible jitters.
Yeah, it's more excitement. I mean, the Q107 thing started it. And to hear the demo on the radio when we won, was pretty cool. Then getting signed, then recording the record. But by the time I went to record the record, the studio was no new thing to me. I'd spent years at the Fanshawe College learning recording, and I already made 2 or 3 records with different bands by that point. So it wasn't intimidating for me. I loved being in the studio. It was exciting, and these were all my songs that we were recording. So I just couldn't wait to get in there every day. We did the record quickly, and it came out. And it's like we didn't have time to think. They released New Girl Now, and the record company took over, and all of a sudden it's a big hit, and we're selling thousands. And then we get our first gold record. I'm like, what? Amazing. It was just right place, the right time. And then you guys are going to open for this band, and you're going on this tour. And it's like everything that it was coming together just beautifully.
Was it right place at right time, or was it just damn good music?
Yeah, no, it was great music. I mean, of course, I'm not touting our own horn, but it's 35 years later. And you still every day they're playing Stay in the Light and Burning in Love and New Girl Now and Feel Again on the radio. Those are staples of Canadian radio because they're great. They're great songs. They withstood the test of time. We're very lucky in that respect. But yes, at the end of the day, you got to have great songs. I think a lot of bands got signed in the 80s just, because they had great hair and a great look and everything. But at the end of the day, the songs, you'll only go so far if your songs are crap. They won't last. But I think we just got lucky. Johnny had that golden voice that was just so good on the radio. And the songs that I was writing were perfect for him. And I don't know. At the end of the day, the music was good. And see that now.
Speaking of Johnny's golden voice, I saw you guys at the Brass Monkey in Ottawa maybe, 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It was probably the hottest night I've ever been watching music. It was disgustingly hot.
I remember that.
It was awful.
Why do we do things like that? I don't know.
The heat was ridiculous.
I know. We got to stop doing that kind of stuff. That was insane because my biggest fear, I had a great show. I don't mind. That reminded me of the arena days. The first few tours we did in Canada, we were playing all the little hockey arenas, in Brandon and Medicine Hat and everything else. And they were hotter than shit. They were just packed full of 2,000 kids in the middle of summer, and the humidity was incredible. I was just drenched in sweat. that's what it was like at that bar that night.
Yeah, but the sound was great, and the show was great. But what I was getting to was that, you know, Johnny, after all these years, sounds better than ever. It's incredible how strong his voice was.
I know, and he smokes too, still.
Really?
Yeah.
How did I don't know.
He's got a pretty durable voice, I will say, but he does his best to take care of it. And what can I say? He's kept it good.
Who were your guitar influences? I'm gonna guess Eddie Van Halen was one.
Later.
But who, when you were first starting out, what made you want to play the guitar?
Richie Blackmore.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. When I first heard Smoke in the Water and Machine Head came out, it just really resonated with me, just his whole style of playing. It's kind of classical in a way, but and he played a Strat, and I just dug the whole Deep Purple, because they were a rock band. They're a kind of band I wanted to be. I also love Santana. Like the Santana 4 is one of my favorite records. I mean, every guitar player say Hendrix and Page and all that, of course. But me, I was mostly Richie Blackmore. I loved early Alice Cooper, stuff like that.
So when did the Van Halen get into it? Because I remember early days you played a Kramer.
Yeah, well,
your black
Van Halen
guitar
was later on. Van Halen was like, 1978, or when that first record came out. And I was sitting in a club one afternoon just having a beer, and the DJ came in and threw a eruption on the sound system. And I'm like, what the hell is that? You know, I went over to the booth. He says, a new band from California called Van Halen. I went up and bought the record the next day. Eddie just, he just changed the landscape. He just brought fire back into playing guitar, because the music scene at that time was just like, all the schmaltzy 10cc and Paul McCartney schmaltzy AM stuff that was on. All of a sudden, this rock came through in this whammy bar. It was like just great, I mean, it wasn't just his guitar playing; it was the whole look of the band. Is David Lee Roth? There's just a fire in that band. It's amazing.
Right. So here's putting you on the spot. Who are some of your favorite Canadian guitar players?
Well, Alex Lifeson, of course. Right. I mean, I neglected to mention Rush as my early influences. I mean, I saw Rush play when they had John Rutsey in the band.
Wow.
When I used to live in St. Catharines, and Mahogany Rush was opening for them with Frank Marino. But that was way early on. And then, because Neil is from St. Catharines, where I'm from. Right. So I remember the whole time when he was back in the city, and he was playing with a band called J.R. Flood. And I heard he got this audition for this new band in Toronto called Rush. And he joined it. Next thing you know, Fly By Night comes out, and it's like, wow, So I was a Rush fan from day one, a big fan of Alex's playing. Who else in Canada? You can't talk about Canadian guitar players without mentioning Randy Bachman, who's actually an amazing, very versatile player, and for me, like an amazing songwriter. Right. Me, I love playing guitar, but I want to be a songwriter as well. So I've got a lot of respect for Randy and just the massive catalog that he has. Those guys. Right.
Nice. Yeah, I would throw Kim Mitchell into there.
Oh, Kim and I go way back, way back. And of course, I've been watching Kim Mitchell with Max Webster. When I was, young, too young to get into bars, I used to go see them. And he's a great player too. So
let's summarize everything that we've talked about. You've got a new single out. It's on the radio. Tell me what you want. Find what you're looking for. Tell me what you want. It was last year's.
Yeah, it's the first single.
Right. Both those songs are going to be on the new album?
They are. So we managed to do enough recording that we could get a couple of songs mixed, and at least we can release some singles now along the way, which is really great.
It's kind of the way to go these days, isn't it?
A lot of bands are doing that, not even putting albums out and releasing singles. So I think that's kind of like the new model now. But there will be a full album as soon as we can get back to it.
And that'll be on vinyl, CD, like everything, or is it just going to be digital?
Well, it's hard to say. Certainly it'll be digital. Vinyl, I don't know, but CDs definitely, because merch is really a big thing now. You don't sell CDs at retail anymore, but a lot of bands, the money now is in touring and merch. And we're certainly, like, we do these things after our show and people just go nuts. And that's where they'd love to get the CD and they get it signed. So we'll have physical for sure in that respect. Okay,
good. And I mean, it's a stupid question, but it's just, when is this going to get back to normal and get out on the road? It's an impossible question to answer, but that's the plan. I'm guessing as soon as everything clears up, you're on the road.
You know it, man. I've never sat at home this long. And to take a year, maybe 2 years off of touring, it's really strange. It's like, I don't want to be retired yet, but it's really frustrating. And I live in the US too, and I get up every day and I just get angry about, the way they're trying to handle it here. And it's not going well in a lot of respects. But you look at countries like Canada and Europe, they got their shit together and you guys are getting it under control. Anyways, it'll be over when it's over, but these large concerts, they're saying maybe not until a year after next. All of our stuff has been rebooked for next year, and I pray that we can get back out as early as that.
Okay, so I guess it's kind of stupid to even ask if there's a tentative release date for the album, because you don't know when you're going to finish it.
No, I would like to ideally get it out this year, but what are we going into September now? It's highly unlikely, but it's not our fault.
Of course not.
We'll have it out as soon as we can, maybe even early 2021.
Oh, awesome! That soon?
Well, I don't know. As soon as we can get back over to England, get it finished up, then there's turnaround time, blah blah blah, and as soon as we can,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to it. I'm all pumped for it now after hearing the single. And congratulations again. It's a fantastic song.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you know what we'll do is, in the meantime, we'll put another single out probably in the fall.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, why? I'm not going to sit on it. The tracks are sitting there. They're done, most of them. So that's better these days anyways. So we'll keep pumping new music out in the meantime, which is one upside of this whole pandemic thing. At least we've got this new stuff happening and the fans love it.
Right. Lots of writing can go on when you're not on the road, right?
That's what I'm doing. That's what I do every day. I'm playing guitar and I'm writing, and I may even write some more stuff for the record that's going to make it even better now that I have this downtime.
Yeah, for sure. One other question before I let you go. Speaking of, you being in the States, and I don't know where Johnny was when I talked to him. I don't know. Was he in Toronto maybe?
No, he's down in the Niagara Falls area.
Okay, he's still there? Okay.
Yeah, down in that area of the world still.
So how do you write as a band when you're 1,000 miles away from each other?
Well, look what you and I are doing right now.
It's all like that?
This is the new model. I write with people in Nashville by Zoom and Skype, and Johnny and I do the same thing. I write a lot of my own. I like to demo a thing up, get an idea as far along as I can, and then I'll fire it over to Johnny, and he'll listen to it at home, and we'll go back and forth on the computer, and we'll write it like that.
Okay.
That's the way we're doing it right now.
Wow, 2020 is strange.
Yeah. At some point we'll get into a room when we get with our producer. We'll all sit in a room and we'll work it out, because there's no substitute for 2 or 3 people sitting in a room with guitars. It really gets worked out much better. But in the meantime, we can get most of it done this way.
Okay. At least it's getting done. That's good. Yeah, cool. So again, congratulations. I hope the album comes out soon, because I'm itching for some Honeymoon Suite. And hopefully you'll be back in Ottawa as soon as it's allowed. Yeah,
the new record's gonna be good. I'm getting to play a lot of guitar, a lot of new kind of things, guitar stuff I'm going to put on there. I'm really putting a lot into it, so I'm going to have fun with it.
Awesome. Just as a guitar geek, Feel It Again. The lead sound in that song is one of my favorite lead sounds I've ever heard.
Uh-huh.
What are you going through there?
Well, are you talking the clean stuff or the solo?
The clean stuff that, you know, at the beginning, the little licks at the beginning.
Yeah, at the beginning. You know, if I remember, back at that time, I had gotten this guitar from Hamer called a Steve Stevens model. He had a Hamer model at one time, and it was like hot fluorescent pink. And it was this amazing guitar. And I remember being in Vancouver. I think I used that one, and it had this like really cool, clean sound. What did I go through? Well, I was working with Bob Rock at that time, so it was probably, you know, a Roland JC 120 or something to that effect. Just a really clean amp processed. That's about all I can remember.
With a little bit of delay, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that is post recording. A lot of that was done in the mix as well. You know, the sprinkle they put on after is a mix thing as well. Sweeteners, yeah. Right.
Well, I've always wondered that because you're right. It almost has that Flesh for Fantasy type sound from Steve Stevens.
Oh yeah, that's what we were going for, and it was a Steve Stevens guitar, which I no longer have because it was stolen.
No.
With everything else in New Jersey, we were on tour with Heart after the record came out, and they took our truck, and I had my SG and the Steve Stevens. I had about 8-10 guitars, and they were all ripped off one night many years ago.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
What a horrible story.
Yeah, I know. It sucked.
Well, listen, thanks so much for this. This has been awesome, and I wish you nothing but the best for the new album and hopefully the new tour at some point soon.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
And we'll hopefully see you in Ottawa within the next little while.
Yeah, we'll see you up there for sure.
Right on. Best of luck and stay safe down there.
Okay, Ken. Thank you.
Keep the light, keep it true, and I know the same thing.